Hi everyone, I just wanted to film a quick video about something that's been on my mind for a bit. Since it's the new year, I know there's a lot of talk about goal setting, setting intentions, creating vision boards, and one thing that I see popping up a lot, especially this time of year, is manifestation and the law of attraction. So I wanted to talk a bit about my experience with manifestation and the law of attraction, and why I think it can be really harmful if you have bipolar disorder, or at least I felt that it was really detrimental to my well-being, especially when I was struggling with my manic and depressive episodes. And even now that I'm more stable, it's still something that I try to stay away from because it just doesn't serve me. So for me, the manifestation and law of attraction stuff was really harmful when I was in my manic episode. A lot of the things about manifestation and law of attraction and higher vibrational energy and stuff can be really difficult to reconcile and to tease out of what is mania and what is hypomania and what are symptoms of bipolar disorder. So for me, what I would experience during my manic episodes was elevated mood. I would experience, all these flight of ideas, all these great ideas that I had. I had delusions of grandeur, and I would also get a lot of like these synchronicities. So I would see 11:11 on the clock a lot. I would see all these little signs throughout my day, that everything was perfectly aligned for me. I thought that there was like this golden thread that was just taking me through life. And in my manic state, I justified all of that as thinking it was the law of attraction, and I thought it was manifestation. When I was seeing these synchronicities, I thought this is the universe sending me signs. When I would feel really elevated in my mood, I thought I was just getting to a higher vibrational frequency. When I thought all these things were magically working out for me, I thought I had manifested it. I thought that all my positive thoughts were just me being really good at the law of attraction, being really good at attracting things. So it's really difficult to tease out what is mania and what is hypomania when you are ascribing to these, when you're subscribing to these beliefs. And for me, it was really easy for me to fall down this rabbit hole, especially on YouTube, and you watch one of these videos and then you just constantly get recommended that content. So in that way, I really felt like the law of attraction and manifestation were really tricky with my bipolar disorder, because I really thought that the things I was experiencing was manifestation and that I had manifested things and that I was attracting things, when it was actually mania, and I was experiencing a lot of delusions. I remember I would experience command hallucinations where I'd be told to go somewhere or say something or do something, and I really thought that I was getting signs from the universe, and I didn't realize how dangerous what I was experiencing was, because I'd been so primed by this law of attraction manifestation stuff that I really did not see my illness for what it was, an illness. Another part of like manifestation and the law of attraction that also was troubling for me was when I was depressed and when I was having a lot of intrusive thoughts. So one of the tenets of like manifestation is that like your thoughts create your reality, and whatever you think you attract more of. And this can be really dangerous and really harmful if you're experiencing intrusive thoughts, because you start to worry that your thoughts could actually come true, when in reality it's just a thought. It can't happen if you think it. Thinking it doesn't make it come true. So that's really dangerous when you have intrusive thoughts, to be told that. It can be really hurtful. And also with depression, I used to think that like my depressive thoughts were my own fault and that I had to think my way out of it. And I really spent like actually years of my life thinking that if I just like thought better thoughts, that I would somehow get out of my depression. And I think, at least for me, my depression was very medical, and it needed medical treatment in the form of medications. And that was the only thing that made my depression better, was medication. And I'd spent so many years trying to use like manifestation or the law of attraction or like future self thinking, really like trying to like think my way out of depression by trying to be someone who wasn't depressed. And that was just completely unhelpful for me. And it just really made my depression worse because I thought I was failing at trying to get myself out of it. So that's why I don't really love the manifestation stuff. I don't love the law of attraction. I don't subscribe to it anymore. I don't engage with that content at all. And I just don't find it useful in my life. I think what the law of attraction provided me, or what I wanted from it at the time, was that it gave me a sense of comfort. It made me feel like there was some safety in the world, that everything is always working out, that there was meaning to things, and that there was a good future that I could look forward to. And that's what I really wanted from the law of attraction and manifestation. I think that's what I was looking for when I kind of fell down into this rabbit hole. But it was more harmful than it was good. And I actually think that if you are into manifestation and the law of attraction and you find that it's not good for you or your mental health, what I would suggest as an alternative, and what really worked amazingly for me, because I don't just want to like bash on this and not give any alternatives to it, but for me, I think turning towards art was really big, really crucial in my healing, in finding comfort, in reminding me that there is a future and it can be a good one, and just seeing the world in a more hopeful light. I think art is really, really substantial in providing that comfort and filling that kind of need for assurance that I wanted, especially when I was really struggling. So some of the art that really helped me, first of all, is music. So when I had my manic episode, it was in 2020, and at the same time, Halsey came out with her album called Manic, and that album was really huge for me. I listened to it all the time. I really related to it, and even to this day, when I like listen to that album, it brings me back to that time of dealing with my own mania. I just felt it was really great to turn to artists who also had bipolar disorder. It was really comforting for me. Another artist that I absolutely love is Florence and the Machine. She has two albums in particular that I really found relatable. The first one is How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful. And that one I listened to so often when I was really depressed. It was just such a visceral album, and really about pain and hardship. And the accompanying visual album, The Odyssey, is something that I would watch all the time because I felt like I was on my own odyssey and I was trying to get through all these hardships, and I was really hoping to like return home and to find my way back to myself. Her other album that came out next is High as Hope, and that was also really crucial in restoring my hope, and it was just such a beautiful album for me to hear, and it really talks about the merits of stability. It talks about, there's a song, Sky Full of Song, that reminds me of like being manic, where she talks about like flying so high and being so tired. I also really love Hosier. He wrote an album called Wasteland Baby, which I found so much comfort in as well, which is about like the end of the world, but then there also being beauty and hope and sunlight, even in a wasteland, even at the end of times. In terms of art, I found that Frida Kahlo's work was really meaningful to me. Her portrait, or her painting, The Broken Column, I like kept a screenshot of that on my phone all the time, and I would always look at it, and it just reminded me that like other people had felt the pain that I was going through, and I just felt really connected to her through this art, and I just felt very seen, and that was really cathartic for me too. And then recently I read The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green, and this book was just exactly what my soul needed. It reminded me of how worthwhile the human experience really is. It made me laugh, it made me cry. I got it from the library, and now I want to purchase it for myself just so I can reread it again. But that was honestly a book that came to me at the exact right time when I needed upliftment, and I needed hope, and I needed to understand the human experience as worthwhile. Another form of art that I turned to during hard times was poetry. There's a poem by Nayira Wahid that I always loved and I thought about very often that went something like, "I do not pay attention to the world ending. It has ended many times for me and began again in the morning." That was really impactful. That was really beautiful for me to remind myself that every dark night has its end and there's always a morning to look forward to. There's a quote by Kaveh Akbar that goes, "Art is where what we survive survives." And I think that turning to art during a hard time is really powerful, and honestly, I think it's more powerful than the law of attraction and manifestation, because it reminds you that other people have been where you've been, and it just gives you that sense that you're not alone in what you're struggling with, and that there is so much beauty in the world and so much awe, and there's so many things that you have yet to experience, and it really, I think, is a lifeline and can really be so invaluable in your healing journey. So I hope that if this resonates with you a bit, you can look into more art that might be useful for you. Of course, this is always just my own experience. If manifestation works for you and you love doing it, then of course, like, keep going. But I just felt like for me, it was important to talk about how there are also downsides to this type of thinking, especially if you have bipolar disorder. So if anything resonated with you in this video, I hope that you can take that and leave the rest. And thanks for watching.